Major labels appear to be weaponizing the Copyright Act. I'm on to you, major record labels. They're like, caught ya, and now we're gonna sue you, targeting music businesses. It's not something that we actively talk about, but I'm worried. I'm really worried about it. About 2 months ago, I was at the airport looking disheveled, and I read this article that said and talked about how the major record labels, right, so the Universal and the Sony, they're coming together and they're suing Internet Archive, aka Wayback Machine. And they're suing this company, this nonprofit, for over $600 million. And I was so outraged. I immediately got my phone and everyone was just staring at me. And I just did a quick video. Okay. So this was 2 months ago. I was actually at the airport because I was on my way to New Jersey. I'm not only an entertainment and music attorney, but I'm also a litigation attorney. So one of my cases, we were in the middle of doing depositions. So I'm flying out to New Jersey because we need to do some of the depositions there. And so I pop on and I just am just talking about pretty much I'm super outraged by this. And by the way, hello everyone who's in the chat. We do this live every week. I go live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. PST. And so if you ever want to check in and say hi, you can be on the live stream. In any case, so I pop on and I'm just like, I'm so outraged because this is one of many lawsuits that the major record labels have been filing, because I'm like, I'm on to you, major record labels. You are filing these lawsuits now and you're targeting music businesses specifically, because you're going after the players in the industry who may have money to pay you, right? To at least get you to stop with the lawsuit. For me, it kind of opens up the conversation to something greater that I'm really concerned about, and that involves Internet Archive and what it does. So for those of you who are not familiar, Wayback Machine, Internet Archive, it's this platform that, well, it archives, it digitizes, it archives, for example, websites. And so you can go back and search a certain website of what was on it, what did it look like. And so it's a screenshot of history. We're going to talk about my concern of why I find that so extremely valuable, but let me just touch on basically what the claim is. The major labels are like, well, you are archiving media at certain times that, at least as of now, may not have proper licensing. And so basically by doing this, you don't have the proper licenses to have these things on these pages that have now been locked into time. And so therefore, pursuant to the Copyright Act, we're going to sue you. And we're not only going to sue you for copyright infringement, but pursuant to 17 USC, it's section 504, which defines under the Copyright Act all the ways that you can get paid money. Okay, so one of them is that you can seek actual damages, meaning the record labels are like, you somehow made money from these infringing things that you're doing, and you owe us the money that you made. Or, and what they're actually doing is under 504, there's something called statutory damages. Now, the statutory damages on the low end can be between $750 all the way up to $30,000. And that's if someone just did something and they didn't mean to. It was a mistake. It was not intentional. It doesn't matter. You could still be paying up to $30,000 because of statutory damages. And then more severely, and this is what I talk about, which is if someone can prove that you did it willfully, you meant to do it, you didn't care, you threw caution out the wind, that in this case, the major record labels can seek up to $150,000 per infringement. So this is how these lawsuits get up to, in this case, $621 million. And I was just kind of grossed out by this. I had just covered other lawsuits that these major record labels are filing against other businesses for something similar. They're like, caught ya, and now we're going to sue you for statutory damages. I'm like, you know what? The major labels seemingly appear to be weaponizing the Copyright Act. I like to compare it to speeding. You know, if you get caught, you did it. I mean, you can't really say anything, but this is the follow-up. So this was an article from today. So basically the article talks about how musicians have kind of rallied together to defend Internet Archive in this lawsuit. For example, there's musicians named, and in fact, Orko, if you want to pop in, we were talking about Bikini Kill, right? So Kathleen Hanna of Bikini Kill, there's musicians who have joined this, and, you know, you felt like Kathleen was, you know, a pretty big name, a legendary act.
Kathleen Hanna's a big deal from Bikini Kill. That's all. Like, she's a founder of kind of like the Riot Girl movement. She's in Le Tigre, Julie Ruin. She's like an activist, and it's not surprising that she's on board with this.
If you are someone that is needing help in the music business, at the end of this video, you can check out topmusicattorney.com. I have courses, I have free stuff just to kind of get you started. If you do want to deep dive, if you do want to train with me, I always say go through my music business program, which is how to think like a record label, become a record label. And then if you do want to get into touch with me or one of my lawyers, we we got you covered. So going back to the article, it goes on just to name a bunch of names and being like this nonprofit organization and its efforts to do digital preservation, right? And the lawsuit that has been filed by Universal and Sony, this is an initiative to basically derail fragile archival records. And this is the point of the conversation that I want to kind of turn it to you guys and get your input, because I go, you know what? The most important media that I own, most of it's on my phone. Pictures, the books that I listen to, I don't even read them, right? The media that we consume today, and even what we post, right? So at some point, the pictures on your phone from 5, 10 years ago aren't there because you have a new phone and maybe you didn't back it up to Dropbox or whatever you use. And so now what you're relying on is Facebook, because you're like, you know what, all my pictures are on Facebook and we can go get it there. I very much worry about how fragile the records of our lives truly are, and with the dilution that is happening because of AI and the fact that platforms just go away, right? At some point they just become obsolete, they're not used. And so we talk about that from like our concerns of being artists and not having control of our audience. Our Instagram could get deleted at any point, we could get locked out. But now I'm talking about the stuff that has more intrinsic value. And going back to, we have a nonprofit whose kind of whole job is to preserve records. And it's not something that we actively talk about, but I'm worried. I'm really worried about it. Besides the very sharky nature of what the record labels are doing. And even, we covered recently about how the majors are also suing TuneCore for $500 million. And it's the same kind of argument. They're like, hey, we think that, not that we think, there probably are. There's different artists using your platform who are violating the copyrights of other people. They're pretending to be Ariana Grande. They're pitching her song up an octave or speeding it up to try to, get past whatever protocols you have in place. And so therefore, you're participating in the copyright infringement. We're going to hold you liable. So there's a conversation about just how highly inappropriate it is, and that you have a new bully. Now, here's the thing. We've talked about record labels just being bullies in general and the unfair advantages and manipulation and bad contracts, right? That was already a thing. But what's interesting now is that we've complained even about TuneCore. We've complained about them being a bully and they're taking advantage of artists. And so you have now TuneCore and you have the labels who are suing and saying, paying us hundreds of millions of dollars. And now they're suing this charity. And, for me, even as a litigator, so I go, funny enough, in my New Jersey case, I've literally used Wayback Machine for my case because we were able to go back and we were able to prove that the defendants in the case did certain things and certain things were existing on certain websites at certain times. And so, it's not only been valuable, literally, to me in recent history, but also it's like we have an entity that is trying to archive and do something to protect our history. So what I would like to know is just, guys, what do you think about this as far as, even your own life? Do you have physical books? Do you print your pictures? What would happen if I took your phone away right now? I took away your computer right now. All social media platforms went away. And I know, I've heard a lot of speculation that in fact is going to be the case. That at some point, social media is not going to be a thing, and that there's going to be a return to kind of the present, right? Or that there will be more utilization of AI, and it's not about looking at pictures anymore through Instagram. It's going to be about these glasses that we wear and these metaverses that we go into and experiences that we create. So, I believe that. And so that's why I go back to, there's this other piece here besides the lawsuit, right? And I'm so glad to see that there's an open letter from these musicians basically telling the labels to back off. I'm with them. Okay. For me, I'm just really concerned because I appreciate the archiving of literally our history, because in the digital medium that we all exist, that is our lives now. So in any case, drop your comments down below. I'm Top Music Attorney. I'll see you on the next one.